And I remember standing in my father's Dairy Queen in Morton, Illinois, right, and ironically, right by the phone rang, and it was Bob Wright, the track coach at Illinois, and he said, "Hey, Al," he says, "I got a call from Ralph McAllister from a place called North Central College. They're looking for a track coach. Wondered if you might be interested." Came up to North Central College, and North Central College in Naperville at that time, there were 16,000 people. It reminded me of my hometown, Morton. And I remember talking to Arlo Schilling, the president at that time, and Arlo Schilling assured me that I could continue to run with Chicago Track Club, which was something I wanted to do, and coach the track and cross country team. And so I thought, this is a good deal. I came to North Central College, and I really did not dream at that time that I would stay very long. Ironically, I did.
In the late 60s, early 70s, North Central College was a ragtag group of, no disrespect to any of them, but almost misfits. Al is so infectious that they just enjoyed it, and he didn't care what they were. As long as they wanted to run, that's all he cared about, and that's where he developed his slogan, "Run for fun and personal best."
1975 was a very, very special year for me. The first national championship that we had with a group that we named, or I coined, the No Names. I loved that, and the experience that I learned from that was very, very powerful. Because individually in 1975 we had a group of individuals that had no individual accolades, no individual credentials, but somehow when you put them together, there was that synergistic, effect where they blended together and became a great team, and they had that characteristic of greatness together that they could not have individually. They just believed in themselves, and it was something that was really, really striking to me. People that are selfless and share a mission together and share a goal and care for one another in a very, very deep way and run with their heart and all these things that really make for greatness. They had it. And so I really, began to recognize that as a foundation, for what great teams have and what great teams need to have to be the best that they can, they can be.
So I was recruiting for my college coach at Northwestern while I was an English teacher, and then a year later, Coach Carius actually interviewed for the Northwestern University job when my coach retired. And he decided not to take that job and said, "Why don't you come here and work with me?" So that's when I moved over to North Central. 1983 in January, I started coaching at North Central.
Grammy, day in and day out, he's your nuts and bolts. Yeah, he's doing everything that needs to be get done. The program does not work without him.
It was really one of the best decisions I've ever made in my life.
North Central College finishing second with a total of 137 points.
Well, the expectation going in North Central is that you're going to win national championships.
My high school coach, Chris Quick, he always spoke very highly of Al, and he thought the world of him, so I knew a lot of the history going into it.
You ask anyone in that freshman class, basically my graduating class now, that question, they'll say the same thing.
I would truly say that I think it's the best college running program in the country, and it has the best leadership in the country.
The bar has been raised for 40 plus years with Al.
I remember coming on my visit, walking in Al's office, you look around him and the walls were literally just jam-packed with trophies and guys of excellent performance and times I couldn't at the time dream of running.
Really liked the message that Al had, and really felt I could run and get better and be part of something pretty cool with Al.
You don't get the greatest high school runners in the world. They're not coming from all over the place to be that, but you get people that love to run, and you don't see that attrition. You see people that grow, guys that weren't so good in high school, all of a sudden studs.
I knew that the expectations would be the biggest of myself and the team.
I wanted to be a part of that. I wanted to be in a group of guys that just, wanted to all work to be as good as they could.
2004, we got second place in the national championship, and so I thought, hey, that's pretty good. I think 2005 was really a wake-up call for me.
The 05 cross season, there's this awful dissension all over the team.
It was completely different. Being, a freshman, I still wasn't aware of, everything that was going on at the time.
I knew for some time that I felt our culture was beginning to soften, weaken.
A lot of people that weren't willing to give everything it took to truly be on that next level. They just thought it was kind of assumed due to the fact they were at this school.
Maybe we were losing, some of the dynamic, some of the cohesiveness. In terms of the number of people that really got it within our program, I felt that it was diminishing.
It's like group versus group versus group. It's like middle distance guys versus traditional long distance guys versus upstart group of younger guys that cause resentment amongst each group.
They found loopholes as opposed to opportunities and found ways to still take advantage of the program and be a part of it without having to pay the price.
The year before was the worst year of my life. I mean, as a person, but dealing with the failures and the years of issues leading up to those failures.
But then in 2005, when we got 12th in the national championship, that was a real shock to me, personally.
And then we saw North Central was 12th place. I remember just looking over at Al and just seeing his face, and it just completely killed me, and it was a complete, turning point for me.
North Central cross country has always been about that, Al at the forefront and us charging behind and doing what we have to do on a day in and day out basis to best represent him and our school and our team.
There's guys who weren't traditionally relied upon in a cross-country role that were now being relied upon, and it was just you could tell that the experience wasn't there. It's not like a Rizzo or a DJ where they're cross-country guys.
It got to a point where we're now no longer working towards the same cohesive goal.
My biggest belief as a part of this program was the seniors, or the people that have been there for a couple of years, pass on their, the tradition of the program, pass on the morals, the hard work, leadership ethic, all those ideas that makes North Central North Central.
Never had we, been out of the top 7 in the nation, and for the most part, we've been a top 4 team. And to get 12th place meant that a lot of apples were falling off the cart, and the wagon was really needed to be, fixed.
Nationals that year, tracks at Benedictine, and obviously we'd already had conversations with Al about the upcoming season. That I remember Nick and I going on a cool down. He had just finished the 5K, I had just finished the 4x4, the end of the national track meet. We go on this cool down, we're cruising through Lyle, and I'm like, man, so that's the end. I was like, I guess we got to get this cross country thing right. And he was like, yeah. And I'm like, well, whatever it takes, let's, get after it. And from that moment, we made a conscious decision between ourselves to take whatever means necessary to get the cross country program back where it was supposed to be.
So in 2006, we had the young group of guys, and internally, I knew that we were headed in the right direction.
Freshman class coming in my sophomore year was helpful.
We had young guys coming in the mix at that time, and the young guys bought into the team. The young guys bought into Al's philosophy, and they bought into the hard work, and it was just going to take some time for it to come to fruition.
But these were just, nose to the grindstone, hard workers, great guys.
They lack some maturity from just things you can't instill in someone.
When I came in as a freshman, pretty much the majority of our team was made up of freshmen.
The other end of the coin was that we lost a lot of guys because of how the nationals went.
The class after Nick, they just weren't there. The gap was so much that I'm pretty sure that Nick and I may have even been the only guys on the team at that time that were even over 21. We were 23 and 24, or 22 and 23, or something like that.
There wasn't that transition. It wasn't as smooth as it was in the 90s and the 80s in terms of just rolling through with classes. A new class would come in, they'd see what the upperclassmen were doing and follow their lead.
These were guys that I actually looked up to, even though they were a year younger than me.
They weren't like, okay, this is my freshman year, I'm just going to kind of sit on the sidelines and learn. They wanted to be the team.
The bond started to build, even though it was a young group.
Now it's strength of mind and strength of purpose that gets us through this. The biggest thing is
what happened at the end of the year did not reflect that objectively.
I think we probably had 6 people run at that national meet that had never run in a national meet before.
And we were feeling pretty good about it because we had a good regional showing. You know, we came into that meet thinking we were a top 3 or 4 team. We were going to hit that podium this year after the year before.
We had gone out there for pre-nationals, and I remember thinking, I was like, I can't believe they're having nationals here. It was a flat course. We show up for nationals and it had rained for, days and days beforehand.
We get to the starting line, and prior to that, probably about the hour upcoming to the actual start of the race, more and more people were talking about the mud. And then it was the coaches were like, all right, we're going to tape your shoes, and then we're going to spray this stuff on your bottom of your shoes. And I don't think it was intentionally, but for the younger guys, you get a little bit nervous because it's like, well, now we're making all these precautions for this mud, putting almost too much emphasis on an external. Everyone's going to have to run in the mud.
We beat ourselves mentally, before the race had even begun. The race starts and a lot of us are way back and just say that we're trying to fight through it, but mentally I think we weren't developed or mature enough at the time, and we didn't race as well as we wanted to.
You can't overexert yourself on a muddy course early because you're going to be hurt in the last half.
I wanted in the most desperate way to have us improve upon that 12th place position, to objectively show these young men that they were doing the right things. Internally, I knew we were heading in the right direction. Internally, I knew we were doing the right things. Internally, I knew that we would eventually be a great team. And I wanted them to get some positive reinforcement, objective reinforcement for that.
Nobody can tell you how to run in a national championship race unless you've actually done it.
We didn't have that confidence, yet we hadn't accomplished anything on our own, so it was hard to go into a national championship and already be at that top level.
That's, probably one of that single day is, one of the most unfulfilling and upsetting, individual moments of my life.
Then in 2007, you've got another shot at it.
You're coming off of this 13th place, worst place in North Central history. You did nothing but work harder.
We were pissed after 13th. Had really made some adjustments in track. We had run some promising times.
Going into the national championships, we thought, yeah, we should be a trophy team.
Workouts were quicker than the year before. Our times were coming down.
Never really had that great race where we all felt like now we're all in shape at the same time.
2007 we were very inconsistent. We did have good results from time to time, but we weren't very consistent. So we were hoping we could do this and hoping we could win, accomplish these goals.
Everything was so contrived because everyone was so nervous about the team not developing through the season as it should.
We thought that to win regionals, we needed to get out. So we went way over the spectrum. We all got out. Our whole team was in the top 15.
A lot of us went out hard and just died and got eaten alive by the field.
We had gotten 3rd place the week before regionals,
maybe I was the third or fourth guy at regionals that year, and it wasn't because I had a strong performance. It was because we were all up and down. Like I wasn't running at my best. I think across the board, everyone was just mostly down.
And we were scared because, you know, we knew that we were a good team, and we knew that we were going to be top 4 at nationals.
Stay left. We got a perfect starting position, all right? All the pieces of the puzzle are in place perfectly, all right? This is our day. Guys, run our race. Let's run with purpose. Let's run with something stronger than willpower. Let's run with heart.
We knew we couldn't go out as hard as we did the week before. So what happened?
And I remember when the gun went off.
We all went out in a pack.
We compensated by going out the slowest any North Central team probably has ever.
It was like we were in a completely different race. We were in dead last place off the line, and I thought to myself, what the hell is going on? You know, it's just, this is ridiculous. We're better than this.
We completely overcorrected our mistake.
You know, I talked to myself and said, okay, we'll be patient and we'll let the race come to us, and it never did. I mean, we were all tears. I mean, we just couldn't believe what had just happened.
This is the worst race of our year, and we ran it the worst time possible.
I remember that taking off our spikes when we were in the field house there. I remember hearing somebody say, what an embarrassing day it was to be a Cardinal.
I just remember seeing Mike Spain, who was just a freshman at the time, just looking down, just looked like he was about to, you know, start crying. Just it looked like he was taking like the whole blame of it himself.
I don't remember what part I played in recruiting him. I'm sure it was something small because he went to Schaumburg as well, and I tried to sell him on coming to North Central, you know, because we had a great team and all that stuff. I remember seeing him and just being like, well, shit, I feel like I lied.
It was hard for a lot of them. I remember Brady was having a hard time. Carlson was really angry.
And then just seeing guys that couldn't toe the line watch us run such a shitty race, like that, a race that was just, we were in dead last from the start, and just feeling just terrible, like just terrible in the fact that they had to watch that and they, you know, that they could have, that they had to like see that frustration that they couldn't convey to us, that they couldn't, you know, help the team.
The seniors that were on that team, Chance, Lesowitz, they were really just beat because they knew that that was their mark. When you put all your focus and effort towards one goal and you don't reach the goal at the end of the year, it's huge downfall.
It didn't happen, you know. You can't hope and believe, and you know that doesn't get you very far.
Like, we talked about it and we thought that maybe we could win a trophy, but it seemed kind of fake to me. And I think deep down it felt fake to everyone else too.
Some of the alums who I might want to call fringers might have been more critical because they didn't know what was really going on. We just think, well, North Central lost it.
It was disappointing because there had been so much success and people wanted the success to continue. It wasn't anger, it was just disappointment that there was something wrong and nobody knew what was really wrong. And Al knew what it was, he just wasn't able to implement it overnight.
I called the guys into a room several times during the year and said, I know that we're doing the right things, we're in the right direction, I believe in you, I want you to believe in yourself. I know to everyone external to us, the outside world, they look and say, hey, the program's failing, we're going the wrong direction, but I know internally we're starting from the inside out and we will eventually be the team that I know we can become.
All right, 1, 2, 3, 2!
This is about to be one of those times that stories that Al tells in team meetings right here.
Presidential shit.
Definitely, probably a lot of it had to do with when we lost track conference.
There's a lot of pride that we have about our streak, about the Augustana North Central rivalry, and how we've always come out on top consistently.
There definitely is a much more of a tighter rivalry in track as of, I'd say, the last 10 years or so.
I went into a meeting with Al, and I sat down with him, and I'm just like, how can you not put me in conference? I'm like, I won conference as a sophomore last year in cross country. I've been consistently your top 3 guys. Just because we don't put you in the lineup doesn't mean we don't have any confidence in you. It's just, this is the best move for us for conference. Well, in my head, that didn't make any sense.
We distance guys. We didn't score as many points as we probably should have. We had the 10K, which we had to run twice the night before.
The 10K goes off that night, and we're out there crushing. Good race. And right about 4 miles in, we're dropping the Augie pack. Apparently there's lightning in the sky. They pull the guys off the track. And we go meet as a team, come back, they're gonna rerun the 10K.
Mentally, I think myself and a couple guys didn't respond to that real well and didn't perform as well as we should have.
Now you're having a couple guys who are doubling run even extra distance. They already run 4 miles, now you're gonna run another 6, 10-mile day, plus you got a 3 mile the next day. And I just watched that 10K, and Augie ran well. They came back out, they were tough, they hung it.
I was kind of kept in the dark a lot the next day about what the team scores were because I was coming back in the 5K. I remember Brady and I just went out and we're just like, we're just gonna, blast this and run as hard as we can, but by then it just wasn't enough.
I remember watching that race and just being pissed beyond belief. As a distance runner, I take personal that we lost because we did not do our jobs out there.
I mean, it really sucked at the time. I don't like losing, and especially to Augustana, like I'd said before. So I know that sent me kind of pissed that I'd run a really bad 10K and came back to cap it off with a subpar 5K.
As a distance runner, I take personal that we lost because we did not do our jobs out there.
Having that happen, a streak that's lasted longer than you've been alive, and having that crumble down in a matter of 24 hours was just devastating to me. It was kind of disappointing because Al always spoke so highly of the alums, and just hearing some of the things that they said was kind of unfortunate.
They were lumping your class, the class of 2010, that we were sophomores at the time. They were lumping those guys with the other guys that didn't contribute a thing to the program a few years back. It wasn't those guys that lost conference meet. It was the guys who graduated who did not provide any type of leadership, did not provide any type of depth, and that didn't contribute a thing, and hurt the momentum of the culture of this program. That's what lost it.
In the end, it was probably for the best because it was more fuel for the fire. We wanted to prove them wrong that this was a team that did have the ability and what it took to succeed.
They were all doing the right things at the time. They were. They just, from the outside, they just weren't getting the results that we had all hoped for, including themselves. It was just a matter of time.
All the guys on the team, and so even the coaches to a certain extent, were looking to pinpoint a reason why this had happened so it wouldn't happen again.
But I knew if they could just keep believing a little longer, they had it in them. They had the drive, they had the necessity to do it as a squad, not as individuals.
I mean, our last chance meets, we had great results. Brady just missed getting in, Lessers just missed getting in. So we had 4 guys, I think, under Provo. We had 4 guys provision qualified that year, which was awesome. And now I think that really proved to us going into the summer that, hey, we're national caliber guys.
The only thing we ever said was when we took 16th is we started saying during our workouts, 16-1.
Nothing else would be better than that. Everything else would just be less than what we expected.
So there were some very heated's not the word for it, but very emotional, personal moments kind of taken by different individuals.
We were watching the outdoor track nationals. It was myself, Brady and Nick Hurd, and we were talking. Brady and I still thought, we were doing the right things.
It just made it that much more frustrating when people are telling you one thing and then you're doing it, but you don't know how to go about it.
Nick he was telling us, you guys still aren't performing where you should be. You guys could be so much better than what you've shown already. He goes, that's great that you guys are, conference level athletes, but you got to do what it takes to become a national level athlete. You got to start thinking like that, training like that, competing like that. And I remember Brady getting really upset about it, and he was going, I'll show you I can be a national champion, I'll show you.
At that point we just lost enough, or we just got sick of losing.
And the great internal leaders that we had within the program, you as a coach are dependent upon those leaders, and you got to recognize and reinforce who they are. It's not based on primarily performance, it's based on their intuition, their loyalty, to the program, their locker side ability to be able to influence the young athletes in a positive way.
He had a lot of people that really looked up to him. Carlson and Brady and Spain, they really looked up to John. And when John finally realized that that's what we needed to do and really impressed it upon them, things began to change.
As my freshman year, a lot of people thought the reason we ran poorly was, our team dynamic was awful and, the culture wasn't good. And so a lot of people said next year we're going to have a great team culture and we're going to run well at nationals next year. So my sophomore year came around, we had great team culture. We get to nationals, there's mud on the course and mentally it defeated us and we ran poorly. And we said, okay, next year there's not going to be mud on the course. Next year the course is going to be a lot better. My junior year, again, we ran poorly at nationals. We got out way too slow, couldn't make it up, and got the worst showing in North Central history. And we were saying, all right, next year we're going to get out faster. And I remember sitting there and being like, well, guys, I'm all out of next year's. I've used them all up, and they go by really quickly.
Up to that point, we were probably just a group of individuals. We still had a collective goal, and we wanted to accomplish this, but we weren't really bonded as a team.
We're letting this guy down. We've let ourselves down. We need to get our asses in gear.
I came back for a 5th year because I had so much unfinished business. I wanted to leave a mark in a sense, as an individual level and as a team level, saying that we really weren't 12th, 13th, 16th place.
I just wanted to make sure that we were completely focused to that year, and everybody was going to go home in the summer and do exactly what they could to prepare for it.
The resiliency that group ended up showing is a coach's dream, because I couldn't blame them for stopping, working so hard, or stopping their trust in people.
But those guys decided that day that they got 16th that the next year they were going to finish first, and they ran like hell every day with an attempt at that.
We're getting first this year. We're winning no matter what. There's no way that we're going to lose this year. Our team is so deep. We're strong. We're feeling good together.
We still believed in what we were doing, and we kept our nose to the grindstone. And as coaches, we weren't sure how we were going to come out.
The end of the track season in 2008, that cross country season began, and we were a different team.
All right, we're going to try something a little different. We're still going to work hard, but we're going to be a little more competitive. And we started doing that, and guys really bought into it. Everybody really bought into that concept.
We started to develop the knowing that Al was always talking about.
Like every race, we had a closer spread. We believed more in our training. We believed more in ourselves. We knew more where we should be in a race. What I noticed with that group each year is that the top group was around the party scene less and less, around the coaches more and more, around each other more and more, and they just became such a tight-knit team.
We were more like a group of brothers, so we were all together. We all had one team mind. We didn't care about anything else other than getting that job accomplished for our teams.
I was still dabbling around 10th, through 7th. The fact that I wasn't in the top 7 and wasn't able to contribute like that, I thought was a good indication that we had a strong team.
John Weigel, one of our alums, said very, very well. He said probably that particular team had the most pressure on it than any emotional pressure that any team has ever had.
I mean, most of all is the pressure on ourselves, and the pressure that I put on myself because I knew we hadn't run well in any national championship that I had been a part of, and this was my last shot, with the teams.
Cortland was always #1 position all year long.
Some say that Cortland team was almost ready to break our national record of 32 points set by our '93 team.
We didn't care. It was there to do business, and that's it.
I knew that we would run well. I knew we could run well. My only concern was, will these athletes put too much pressure on themselves and try too hard and not run the 4 parts of the race?
We knew that nothing was gonna go wrong.
We were tapped into each other. We didn't really focus on that stuff.
I just looked around at my teammates and they just gave me the confidence that I need, even though I was really scared to be at that top level. I knew that we were going to run well in 08.
All of us on that lineup had experienced the previous year's downfalls. All of us had been in those races when we, were down. Knew that what we needed to do. Same thing that we've done every week before that.
I remember watching our guys take a approach to the race that I guess I hadn't seen in a couple of years past.
It was a very fast start, and we were in perfect position to do what we needed to do that day.
But this was the first time in the national race I saw Mike up there looking comfortable, looking like he belonged in that, I believe it was like that second tier pack of guys running around 10th. Nate Hurd was our second guy, he was an All-American, and then freshman Neil Klein, that was kind of a huge race for him. We had a great pack, middle front of the race, and just stayed that way.
Just seeing the sea of red and white on the sidelines and hearing everybody, and at that time we were somewhat close and in the running for a national championship.
I remember finishing that race, and I see my teammates come in, and I feel pretty good about it.
Obviously we finished. We found out that we had second place, and it was funny because there were people looking at us like, you just got second place. What's wrong?
It wasn't the same as the year before. We were sad, but at the same point in time, we went through a whole year again. Our goal was to win. We thought we were going to win, and we kind of didn't. We almost let ourselves down. We didn't win. We wanted that win more than anything else, more than anybody else.
I thought, second place, that was awesome. But then I was looking at my, Brady and Kerrigan's face, and they were just like this disappointment on their, and that really changed my mindset to being, not settle and, give it all I got.
Rather than being very disappointed, it just made it an awesome experience for North Central to kind of be back on the podium rather than 3 years where we were in the teams and not even anywhere close.
Race at Nationals in 08, I think was one of the best moments in North Central, just because we finally got it.
It was nice to see us, finally run to our fullest potential when we were trying to.
They fought like hell. I was really, really proud of those guys.
They knew they were going to win. They ended up second place. They put us back on the podium, and the culture was back, and the culture for everyone.
That was a telling sign that we're finally getting the results from our hard work.
We could hold our heads high because we actually did try our best. We laid it all on the course, and we could actually feel good about ourselves after a national championship, rather than where the first 2 years you have regrets about, should I have done this, I should have done that, I could have done this.
We knew we were a good team, but we never performed to it. So finally actually being able to perform well when we could, that was definitely rewarding.
I was given one of those second place trophies by the team, and it's still the one that means the most to me to this point, because it stood for the guys putting up with so much.
That particular group of young guys that had now matured knew that they had an unfinished business. They wanted to win a national championship.
We left that race with a mentality that, all right, well, obviously what we've been doing so far has worked. Fine-tune that. We're getting ourselves to the top.
It's an it's that unsaid thing that keeps going around, and there was still some talk in the past few years, oh, we're going to be good, we're going to be this. There's none of that this year. We don't have to say a word, really.
The interim between getting second at Nationals
and showing up that January, it was rough. People thought, it would come. Remember, Ray?
I do, absolutely.
And so, guys, you guys all run well. I think this is great. You just keep speaking with your legs. When I was a freshman, I had a senior who was running in the varsity come up to me and ask me what was wrong. He asked me, a freshman, what was wrong. I didn't know what to think when I heard him say it. This was an All-American, and he's asking a freshman what he should do. What's wrong? I've only been here for 2 months. You want to tell me what's wrong?
After a while, you'll start figuring out what you're doing on this program, and when it clicks, you'll start running well. And don't feel like you're unimportant, because everyone on this team is working their asses off. Right. And when that happens, 1 through 40, our strength in our team is 1 through 40, not 1 through 5.
I think a true competitor responds in a very, very positive way to negative experiences, negative feedback, and says, hey, you know what? You got to believe in, I have to believe in myself, and I have to believe in my teammates, and I think it actually made us more determined along the way. I know that somebody, made a copy of something that was written on one of the websites. I really don't look at that information at all, but somebody made a copy and showed me and said, hey, that my run as a coach was over, and it was a good run, and thanks for the time, and North Central's time was over. To me, that really was inspiring. It didn't pull me down, didn't make me feel bad. It made me feel more determined that I wanted to see this team accomplish what I knew they were capable of accomplishing.
What made our season successful, there was, right from day one, everybody was on board, and everybody was all in.
We ran the national championship twice a week, for 4 years against, our teammates.
They really matured, not only physically, but races were becoming better, and it was that inner confidence.
We've known what it feels like to be defeated. Now we're just going to go out and enjoy the process, and that's what we did.
I remember being more nervous going to practice than I ever was going to a meet.
We would make each other hurt in practice that races would never be that tough.
When we took 16th, as we started saying during our workouts, 16-1. And then when we took second, we started saying, 2-1. And, that's the only time that we ever mentioned winning a national title, and that was just to get you through some hard workouts.
I knew they wanted it as much as I wanted it, so I wanted to be there for them.
You know you have a good team when any one person pushes the pace and all 15 of them counter.
A lot of it was just based on guys literally having enough experiences build up, having the maturity of having gone through it a lot.
We had finally gotten to the level where we were so confident with how we were going to run and how much we wanted to win and how sure that we were better than everyone else. We went on every race just to prove it.
Having that same team together for 3 years previous to finally, that was a culmination of everything that we've worked for. We had no doubt in our minds what was going to happen that year.
There was nothing getting in their way. You put a mountain in their way, they'd get over it. You put a crash in their way, they'll get around it. When regionals came around, it was just no question in our heads that we were just going to run away with it.
We were going up against lacrosse, who was apparently supposed to beat us that year. But all of us knew that we weren't going to let that happen.
They see a group of 5 of us and we're 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th. Those teams are thinking, how are we going to compete with these guys? And that's what we thrived on. I mean, we thrived on making other people hurt.
We basically crushed the entire nation, and we weren't even in nationals yet.
Ever since we got second my junior year in Hanover, that whole 364 days leading up to that's all we thought about every single day.
Not that they were going to run away with it, but they weren't going to allow anyone that day to be in front of them.
They were prepared mentally and physically to be national champions.
just to have the underlying confidence. It's awesome.
It's finally here. I could barely sleep the night before. I remember talking to Spain all the time. I'm like, we're finally here. We're finally at nationals.
That team in 09 knew they were going to win.
As soon as we know it, the gun went off, and I was just, thrilled to be there.
I could feel all the other guys running with me, even though Nathan Rutz, Sean Carlson, they were behind me. I could feel where they were.
We found each other at mile 2, and I just remembered the stories of the old teams that just found each other in the race and how they won, and we just kept strong.
So we knew we had 5 in the top 15 at that point. And one of our coaches said, Rutz and Carlson are just behind Brady. And when you hear that, you get a confidence in because well, there's our 7. Like it's been all year, our 7 this close to the front.
We were just out there running a workout almost. The longer the race kept going, the more excited I think we were because we were just killing everybody.
We were having fun out there. We knew what we had come to do, and there was no one that was going to stop us from doing it.
About 600 meters to go, I kept yelling maintenance quarter, knowing that it was much more than a quarter.
It seemed like we were in slow motion the last mile, and at the finish everything was really hazy and a blur.
I actually started thinking that this was my last race of my college career. So I had never tried harder in my life up to that point.
I finished, I was the 5th man, so I already knew what happened.
You knew we had locked up that national championship, just blew the field away.
4 seconds after that, I see Rutz.
Waiting for the last guy and going, he's right there. God, please let him be an All-American too.
You're on a herd train, and you know that you're never going to drop out of a race, especially the national championships, and especially running for North Central and wearing that jersey, because it's about more than you.
We're done. 7's done. There's no way we lost this race.
You didn't have to know anything about cross country to know we were dominating that race.
But watching each and every guy just battle it to the end, and to get 7 All-Americans, that's what stands out in my mind most.
They went on to be one of the finest teams that has ever run in NCAA history. 7 All-Americans, and they won the national championship by the largest margin of any team ever in the history of Division III.
We worked together for 4 years, all these experiences, and we put it together.
Finally, for a change, crossing the line and seeing everybody happy instead of walking away from you.
It was the best feeling in the world.
To watch them just, destroy the national field in that manner was just so, gratifying, because that's North Central cross country.
You know what? It's tough that, I never got that national championship.
It looked like it was the easiest thing in the world because they were so prepared, they were so confident.
To see them, these guys who I trained for years with and, hung out with for years, it was, that was reward enough.
The coaching staff, Al, Grammy, Ray, all those guys who you tried to, run your hardest for. You're out there, blood, sweat, and tears for them for 4 years, getting to see them get some accolades for all the hard work that they'd put in as well.
No matter what everyone else thought, we had done what we wanted to accomplish, and that's all that mattered.
I think the most important thing is coming together as a team and just really bringing North Central and Al and Grammy and every single alumni who's been associated with the program back to where it belongs.
Those guys reminded me of my buddies from the Tony Bliles, the Ray Krauses, the Bob Dumpy. It reminded me of those guys that they just had a bit of an attitude. You know what? We're walking in there and we're going to show them who North Central College is.
To get not only back to the point of being, the caliber program that we always knew we should be, but to exceed what anybody has ever done, that was awesome.
They were the team that, in my opinion, turned the program around, along with some upper class leaders that really took to heart what we needed to do in our mission. They ran with their mind, body, and their spirit. They ran with their hearts. They ran for their teammates. They ran for their history. They ran with great character.
And all of them coached by head coach Carius.
We turn it over to the next generation, and our hopes as a coaching staff is and was that we have enough of the younger people that are going to be ongoing, that see the blueprint, that know the formula, that know the path that leads to success.
The 2010 season was it was a lot of unknowns.
It's going to be a challenge to get to the national championship, with the team this year.
I think we only returned 2 out of our top 10, I believe.
I was concerned about that because since I've been here in the history of the NCAA Division III, and really even prior to that, we've always had a team at the national championship.
We're doing a pre-meet run, and of course everyone's there, but the seniors don't care. And they were telling Mike, have fun next year because you're losing all of us. It's going to be a lot of hard work, and making fun of Mike pretty much because they thought he was going to be the only one worth anything on the team.
I was concerned, do we have enough experience? Do we have enough talent to really get to the national championship?
I really, really believed that we were going to take a van with Mike Spain to the national championships.
There was nothing they could have done about it because they were all a whole bunch of new people. None of them had been there before.
I could see why most people would be scared. The first big hit, I guess, was the fact that Rutz wasn't coming back. He would have been another solid rock to have on the team. At least, okay, we got now 3 All-Americans returning rather than 2. How do you make an event like that not be a crucial blow to the team? Just tell the guys, it's better that we don't have a guy who doesn't really want to be there. We'll be stronger for that. At least we know that we have 7 guys committed to each other that want to do this.
I think we saw it as, okay, that's fine. We'll move on without them. If they're with us, great. If they're not, it's too bad. There's other guys.
Up at Parkside, when someone, and I don't know exactly who, said we want to win the national championship.
Pretty confident talk for a team that hadn't, that lost so much from the year before, but you don't want to discourage positive thinking.
There was 12 other guys in the same room that, we all had the same goal. And
the most important thing that I thought was making sure the other guys expected to win.
It was nice to have the team from last year to look up to and to look on and to say, this is what they did and we can do it if we follow what they did.
Okay, is this a word? Is this what they think we want to hear? Or is this a deep down commitment and feeling that these guys are sharing together?
And we buckled down. We had the discipline right away.
One key to me was the way Nathan Wursler came along. He really showed a lot, and he was, I thought, a great inspiration to everybody. And of course, you had Mike Spain, who's a great leader.
Standing next to Mike Spain on the line gives everybody a sense of confidence, a shot in the arm.
I just wanted those guys to just run with me and know that if they can run with me, that we could pretty much do anything that the team wanted to do, reach any goal that we had.
Neil Klein, who's a very talented runner coming back.
With some newcomers in there, Brinkmeyer, Dan Curley.
They bought into the process and just made it happen.
They picked up where that team left off, and I believe in their mind they also went to win a national championships.
When they came back in tremendous shape. I mean, we were very, very fit, and they were very committed.
With every workout and every meet that we ran, we started seeing, wow, they're surpassing the checkpoints that we have established for ourselves, and that particular team built their own momentum during the year. I think by the time we got to Oshkosh, Oshkosh Invitational, and we had the experience there and the feedback there, I think at that point we all believed that we were capable of winning the national title. And then we went into the conference meet and had a strong team showing, and then the regionals, again, a great team effort. I know we were very, very confident when we went into the national championship.
This is what it's supposed to be. You've put all this work in, and the day of nationals, you feel confident and you're ready to go.
When you walk off the bus, you feel people staring at you, people watching you.
And I got such a great feeling just walking off that bus and seeing everybody look at us and saying, oh shit, that's North Central.
So it definitely plays in our favor because everyone's always kind of looking around for where the stripes are and they expect to see them up front. It builds our confidence just knowing that it freaks everyone else out.
The gun went off and I just remember everyone, just like everything, it's a big cluster, just everyone trying to get to the same exact point.
I really was all out and I couldn't go any faster and people were blowing by me.
We were right where we should be. I thought, okay, this is perfect, you know. We just run our race, we're gonna win.
There was this big fall and I got out of the way, and right as I got out of the way, my shoe came off.
I had no idea, even though I stared at his feet the whole race.
I was running with Neil, I was running with Worsler.
My goal the whole race, and that's why we were running the way we were, was to win nationals.
I'm our 7th man right now. I feel like I'm in a pretty good position. You know, I feel like we're going to do this.
I'm trying to keep Worsler and Perez and Neil in my sights. And right then I feel another spike clip my heel, and then I'm down on the ground. And I guess the guy behind me fell down too because he used me to push off. And I remember getting down again, and then I pushed off again.
And right at that second, I started booking it.
Everyone who had been in nationals was telling me that the last mile was the mile that you just book it.
We hit the last mile and I want to start turning over and there's nothing coming.
Getting out kicked sucked. You know, I got out kicked in the last straightaway.
And I remember with 1K to go, feeling terrible, and I was running with Perez.
We were there for each other. When I would go, he would come with me. When he would go, you know, I would go with him, and we were just trying to work and finish together.
And it wasn't that it was a hilly course or anything, it was just that last mile trying to gut it out, doing anything you possibly can for your team.
When Brinkmeyer comes in there, you see just the agony in his face while the pain is going through, and you realize that he's been sick, and you're like, holy shit, this guy's still trying to finish it off. You can tell that he wasn't running for himself, he was running for those 42 guys, you know, being our 5th man in 5th place.
This is going to be close, this is going to be really close.
And I remember the 09 team, when they crossed the finish line, everybody was circling them. Everybody was crowding them, and because they knew they had won, there was no doubt about it. I crossed the finish line, and nobody was gathered around me because nobody was sure what the score was.
And I remember standing with Perez and Brinkmeyer, and we were staring at the scoreboard as the scores came up.
Seeing Haverford and then North Central underneath, and seeing the points and how far apart we were from that, and I just remember how disgusted I was.
You know, all the work that we put into it, and you know, it was gone like that within 25 minutes. It was over.
That was horrible, knowing that we're supposed to win national championships and we didn't.
We wanted to win so bad, but I was so happy that our guys got second.
I was really proud of the guys, the way that they ran. And I told them that, you know, at least we all threw everything we had on the line. They put their hearts out there, and we ended up not winning on that day, but I can deal with that because we didn't give up. If we beat ourselves, then I'm pissed. If we were to give up, but we didn't.
Al talked to us, and the coaches were happy with it.
From a coaching standpoint, we could not have been more proud of this group. From a group of young men that started the beginning of the year as maybe a bunch of individuals, they grew into what I would call a great team.
The senior class the previous year was giving Mike a hard time about, you know, you guys are going to be horrible this year. And you really just get a bunch of confidence, you know, after the year, knowing that, you know, okay, we came in second in the nation and we really weren't expected to do much. I think the only people that really believed at the beginning were the guys that were running.
The fact that we set our standards so high, I think, helped us achieve all what we did.
you know, when it was all over the next day on Sunday, it's like, wow, I wish I could start all over with this team. It was just a great group of young men that connected, a great group of young men that understood, that got it.
The 2010 team just proved that they belonged just like the 2009.
They just wanted to prove to the country that we could lose guys, we could lose some top guys, and basically, you know, reload.
What that year's team brought to North Central College was reinforcement for what had started back in 2006. That blueprint for success was recognized by the underclassmen, by the upper class leaders that were remaining within our program. They recognized what it took, and they grabbed that blueprint, and they helped to get us and keep us on the path that again we reestablished back in 2006. In 2005, or at least around that era, I felt that we were really on autopilot, and that all we needed to do is plug new people in, and they would automatically adhere to the program and take over where the seniors left off. We needed to have more guidance within our program to help our athletes know what it takes to really prepare themselves. And what we experienced during that time is having an ongoing influence on how we coach and how we approach things and how we organize things. The structure of the team, we don't take anything for granted. We don't assume that everybody's really connected and motivated in the same way.
This is really senior day. So again, if there's any senior that wants to say anything.
The important things that you take away from this program are the list of priorities that you make in your life, the list of values that you create in your life, the self-discipline, the self-motivation, the self-mastery. Those are the things that you guys are going to take with you into the real world. And those things will shock people when you go into interviews, when you shake hands with people, when you meet government officials, because you guys are doing great things, I know it. So just take that with you.
And the relationships you guys are going to make here, already have made, are going to last you a lifetime. So every second up, and waking up at 6 isn't easy, but I'll tell you what, when I'm out of school, done with everything, I wish I could come back here and run with you guys.
Yesterday was the final exam date. I felt like we really had great reinforcement, as I've indicated, and we weren't hanging on, we were really coming on.
As the outdoor season went on, we just saw more personal bests, and that's all you can really hope for, and then getting 5 distance guys into the national championships was just really a capstone to a great season.
I think that really speaks well to leading on into the cross-country season and how well they should do then.
We've got some strong leadership, some good emerging leadership, and then some existing leadership with Matt Brinkmeyer, and then Johnny Crane, obviously. He's really shown himself to be a leader. He gets it, obviously. He just won national titles.
And that 5K, that last quarter, there was about 7, 8 of us in a big pack, and I took off, and I came up lucky that day. So
we have won 2 national championships in a row. I think that has given us positive reinforcement.
I think everyone's thinking about that #1 trophy again.
we're only losing 2, so we got 8 coming back out of the top 10. Every single guy throughout this team, 1 through 40, wants to work hard and wants to do everything they can to become better.
A lot of guys are really hungry to just get after the summer. For some of us, it's our last chance to and be where we know we can be, but we've got to do it first.
I want this to be part of a long legacy of North Central National Championships and several years in a row.
Our challenge this fall will be taking that individual talent and blending it together into a cohesive team. In 2009, when we won the national championship, that was a team that really came living the 2005 experience, 2006 experience. They were connected with a common goal mission that, brought them together. With this team, that remains to be seen what that cohesive bond is going to be, what that glue is going to be, what's going to bring them together. That selflessness is what really creates great teams that have talent. What keeps me going is I love what I'm doing, and I think love is the most powerful, form of emotion just about there is. If I didn't love what I was doing, if it wasn't intrinsic with me, if I didn't get a sense of satisfaction, from watching young people grow and get better, why would I want to do this? I think I'm a far better coach today than I was, when I first got started. Maybe not as fast a runner, but I think that with the knowledge that I've had, I think I've got greater insight in terms of what it takes to be successful. I really enjoy that whole process of seeing that evolve, and I get excited from year to year to see where we're at, what we've got, and then the goal is to see ourselves get better individually and collectively, through the year. When that happens, I get a great sense of satisfaction. If individuals are not improving, and if the teams are not getting better, then I take that personally, also. And, if that happened year after year after year, I would say maybe I've worn out my welcome.
Al Carius is a special person. He couldn't leave North Central. He wouldn't function without North Central. And to try to start up the legacy and the integrity and the consistency of a program someplace else, you're not going to do it at a Division I level. It's a different thing. And why be any place Division III than where you created your legacy?
But I do believe that my background and experience is still a benefit today.
1, 2, 3.